Hi everyone, it's April with Hair 101. Today I'm going to show you how to do an A-line haircut. This one's going to be shorter in the back and longer in the front, and then it's going to have a lot of shattered layers in it. So I've washed her hair and combed it out and parted it down the middle, and then in the back I parted off two sections that go just in the middle of the ear there and kind of angle down. And this is going to be the first section that I work with, is going to be the back. So now that I have this sectioned, I'm going to take another triangle section out of it and then use a clip to hold this up. So this will end up being the next section that I work on. Alright, so clip up both sides. And then it will be really easy to just move on to the next section because those are already sectioned off. And then I'm going to chop all this off. Her hair is really long. We're just going to go for it. So go ahead and look down. And I'm going to peek underneath and see where her natural hairline starts. And I'm going to just kind of push the hair down against her neck. And then I'm going to tuck the scissors in and just lift to make sure I'm not cutting into the hairline. And then I'm just going to chop it off. And then once you have your guide, we're going to go as short as we can before we hit that hairline. There we go. And then you're just going to pull the hair, direct it over a little bit. Push it right against the neck. And then I'm going to angle this cut just a little bit towards her face that way. All right. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, angling it forward. And you direct the hair by combing it this way this time. And I'm going to cut a lot more of this off, so it doesn't have to be perfect on that, just to get all that length off. Now we're going to take this up like this, that little middle section. We're going to stick our fingers underneath and cut into it. Okay, in the next section I'm going to direct over to that same area and point cut into it. And then the last one, direct it over. Okay, same thing on the other side. I like to go underneath on these ones. Okay, so that's a little bit shorter. Alright, you want to make sure that your line right down in here is looking better now that you've got some of that bulk out. So you can just point cut at it until it looks how you want it to. Alright. I want it a little bit shorter. I'm going to go ahead and cross check it by pulling this straight out. And anything that's longer than that middle section in a straight line, so like this, We're going to pull all out to that straight line. Okay, so just the left side I'm going to pull down and then part the rest of this underneath. And then we're going to pull this all up just about to where her head starts to roll down. There's like a bone right here. So right there on that bone is where I'm going to rest my hand. Okay, and that's where we're going to make this A-line. It's going to follow this direction and kind of come from here and go down to her chin. So we're going to pull that straight out like this. And we're directing it this way. And then we're holding our hands at that same angle of the part. And then once you get it there, you have that guide underneath from how short you want to do the layers. I'm going to do it a little bit shorter. So I'm going to rest my fingers right on her head and chop out some of that hair. And you just make sure that you're keeping that same distance from the line all the way down. I'm going to go in underneath here and chop some more of this out too. There we go. So once again, you make that part, pull this hair up, follow this line here, and then chip away at it. And it's easier to get this in here shorter before you do all that, just because it's easier to control the hair and grab that chunk of it and just take little pieces out. If you tried to do all of this from right when it was long, you could get lost really easily. So that's why I do it that way. And we're going to do this side. Same thing. You want to make sure that you're not pulling hair from this other side. So go ahead and do that part. Lift it up. Alright, so I need to go a little shorter on this side still. So you should be able to see this weight line right here, and you can kind of bring them both in and make sure that they're even. This side's a little shorter still, so you bring this side up and just chip away some more. You want them to look even, symmetrical. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to go back down in here and find some more of this out. Because now that we have this shorter where we want it, this is just a little too long. It's always easier to go shorter than longer, so I always cut like this just to make sure that I don't do anything I don't want to do. Because you can't undo it once you chop it off, right? Okay, so that's a good length for the back. Okay, so now that we have that established, we can start taking sections from the top. And I'm going to do about 1-inch partings. And all of my partings are going to come back to that same spot that I was cutting right there. So everything will come back to that spot. So I'll go ahead and take 1 inch down, comb this forward, and that just helps keep it out of the way while you're working. And then you always want to make sure you do that part down the middle so that you don't grab from the other side. And you're going to pull it over and look for your guide underneath. And check where your hands are too. They should stay pretty much in the same spot throughout all of these sections. I'm going to do 2 and then I'm going to go to the other side. So part that. So the hair is getting longer as I go back because I'm keeping my hand in the same spot and directing the hair over to that same spot to cut. So that when it falls, it's going to give this angle around the face. So let's go to this other side. We're going to take 1 inch, comb this forward. This down. Alright, so you can see the guide underneath here. And then one more section. If you can't see your guide underneath, then you're taking sections that are a little bit too big, so just thin those out a little bit. But as you cut more, you'll be able to see even through a little bit thicker sections if you know what you're looking for. Okay. So I'm going to work on this side again. Comb this forward. Keep it out of the way. There we go. And you can make this as long and as short as you want. If you wanted a shorter A-line that was even more dramatic, you could pull it up a little bit more, tighten it up. You would just be cutting maybe right there. If you wanted it longer, you could be doing the same technique down here and it would make more of a long A-line. So the length of the A-line really just depends on where you make that weight line and where you direct all of the hair over to. Okay, so now that I just have these 2 front sections left, I'm going to take a break from directing it back and shape out the front really quick. So where the hair is going to actually fall normally and the haircut is there, I'm just going to take it around back here. And I can see right here, you can see that there's a guide underneath. And I'm going to just follow that guide and angle this haircut around like that. And I am point cutting because I know that I'm going back in with this after and we're going to shatter it up and layer it. And so I want it to have kind of a edgy look so that there's more texture. And with the front piece, I direct it back a little bit still and pull it to here to cut it, and that will give you that length in the front, because then when it comes forward it's longer. So you just pull that, sorry, pulled your hair across your face. Pull this back, chop it off at that same guide, and then when it falls forward you should have a really nice line there. Okay, we're going to do the same thing over here. Always check underneath the ear. Sometimes people have like a long piece coming from right here that they tuck. Just make sure that there's nothing tucked behind the ear when you're cutting this. Alright, this would be a good time to check and make sure your lengths are about right, and a good time to check where they part. Do you part on the side or in the middle?
A little to the side.
On this one?
Yeah.
Okay, what I usually do is I just pull the hair straight back and then kind of give it a push, and it will usually part about where they do. So it's been trained. Is that close? Can you see? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's where her hair kind of just opened up anyway. Now you want to check and make sure your lengths are about right. Okay. So that is a really basic A-line. I want it to be really textury and have lots of shape and layers and texture and pieces that she can spike out or flip out or whatever. So I'm going to shatter it. If you wanted it really clean, you could texture just a little bit in the ends and be done, and blow dry it out and make sure that there's nothing that bugs you, and that would be a really clean A-line. That's not what I'm going to do now, but I did show you how to get there, because this would pretty much be just to the touch-up stage for that, if that's what you wanted to do. So with that said, I'm going to start chopping out on this haircut and having some fun and just making it a little bit more unique. Okay, so really quick, I lied a little bit, I'm not totally done. You would want to pull this back before you sent them on their way and chop off these long hairs that go past your weight line. So we'll do that really quick. And these are just the hairs that didn't get cut when I did the angle in the front, because I stopped pulling it back. So if it's going to reach back here to be cut, it's not going to be cutting anything off of your shape right here anyway, because that wouldn't be able to reach back. So this is just going to save you from having like really long pieces hanging back if you pushed all your hair back. Okay, so then it would be at the touch-up stage where you would just be texturing with the thinning shears or a little bit of the razor on the ends to give it a really smooth A-line. However, with her, we're going to do some layering. So now that I have this in the back here, I'm going to take it up in the mohawk section, just like this. And I'm going to start layering up. right about there. Okay, I'm going to pull some hair, take another chunk, another inch or so. Up. And I'm directing this over towards the middle. That middle section that I took right here, I'm pulling this hair too. And that way, doing that's going to prevent chopping in too much to the A-line shape on the bottom. So we're just texturing, like cutting a little bit. So I'm going to take another section back here. And I'm going to pull this stuff to the middle too. And eventually it stops reaching. And that's how you know it's been blended in, that layer. So this side, pulling it towards the middle again. Okay, so there's some layers in the back. And she has a lot of natural curls, so that really brought out the curl too, to put those layers in there. Okay, so okay, now I'm going to take this section right here, right at the curve of the head. I'm going to texture it out. So we're going to work on this section right here. We're going to use the razor. And I'm just going to take good sized chunks. And I'm holding it kind of like a pencil and just drawing out pieces. And she has a lot of hair, so this is just going to give her a lot of texture. You don't want to go too crazy because you want to keep this length, but wherever it looks really heavy, you can take out. And then take another section about an inch down. Do the same thing. And that's going to give hidden layers right there. It's not really going to be like layers that you would do with the scissors that are graduated where they have a solid, definite line on them. This is more of just like a piecey, shattery look. Okay, to the other side. Same thing, just start with a line that way. Comb it up so it keeps it out of the way. Working on this section, starting at the back, just taking out chunks. Okay. let's check out all this. I'm going to dry this up and flat iron it, and then I'm going to see if there's anything else that I want to detail out or chop into. So I've dried it, and I'm just flat ironing just to get some of her curl out, because she has some natural curl in there. Everyone's gonna ask what flat iron this is. I might as well just tell you. It's a one and only brand, and it's the Argon Heat one. I got this at Sally's for like, I don't know, it was like $50 or something. It's not the best flat iron. It works though. If you want a really, really good flat iron, I like the C&D one. And you can get that from a stylist or a salon. And that one, it runs probably like $150, but it's really, really good. All right. Lots of steam coming off her hair. No, it's not smoke. I'm not burning her hair off. Although that would be pretty good for a viral video if we could do that. That girl's video went crazy. Okay, so now I get to go in and make little adjustments. I'm going to take the thinning shears back here. I always like to texturize the slime a little bit better so it's not so drastic of a bump. And if you see any spots that are a little bit too long, you can take care of those right now too. There we go. So here's the thinning shears. I'm just going to go in through this weight line and just soften it down a little bit. The razor in the back, if you have anything on the neck that's bugging you, you can just shave that down. She has a little bit of a growth pattern right there that kind of comes to a peak. So you can just take the thinning shears and just texturize it a little bit to help it. There we go. These long pieces, I like them. They're just a little too blunt, so just take the thinning shears to those a little bit. So this is what the razor does. It kind of gives you that hollow and then long piece. It's really fun with short hair to have that. Okay. I'm going to take a bunch of hair right here. We're going to give her a little bit of a fun layery thing that she can do like a rooster tail or just have some texture. So she can pull this forward. And that just gives some nice body on that area that gets parted out. This is my favorite part of the haircut. It's just playing with it until it looks exactly how you want. razoring out a little bit of this. It's really heavy right there. Kind of looking a little bit flat. So I'm going to pull this up where it's looking a little bit flat and just kind of razor out. You can do thinning shears too if you want. Should just give it some body. And right here is really, really thick because we're pulling this forward. Tons of hair in there. Okay, I'm going to take this section right here, angle it out this way, and chop in to these hairs just a little bit. There we go. There we go. We can get a little bit more body on the top now from that. We are really close to being done. Okay. Do you want to feel it and see if there's any heavy spots that you want to take care of?
It feels good.
So I'm just going to get the hair out, the leftover dry hair. Okay. So I'm using Enjoy Dry Wax as a pomade. And this just helps to hold the shape. Gives it a little bit of texture. Alright, thanks for watching everyone. I hope you enjoyed this haircut. I'm going to use the same model for 2 more haircuts as we go shorter. Eventually she's going to end up with a really, really short, fun haircut. So this is what we did today. I will check back in a few weeks when she's ready for another cut and we will do something else. Thanks everyone. Make sure you subscribe and go to my Facebook page. Give it a thumbs up if you thought anything in here was useful, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Okay, go. Here you see Zayd is making this Christmas tree and he's trying his best.
Amber, Christmas tree already? It's November 18th. It's not even Thanksgiving. Zayd, whose idea was this?
Mine.
Look at me. Look at me.
Look at me. Ooh, Bob.
Daisy.
What?
Are you excited for Christmas?
Yeah, I am.
Amber, are you in ballet?
Yes, she is.
Wow. Do a trick.